New Hampshire Republican Governor Kelly Ayotte has apparently defied her party by striking down 7 extreme bills pushed by the far right. Oh, interesting. So let me go through some of these. One of them was House Bill 324, which gave parents greater power to remove any classroom content that they feel is obscene. Ah, yes, which of course it's one of those right-wing book bans that would lead to LGBTQ plus books, themes, along with any literature on racism to be removed from the classrooms. Okay. Now, what was the reason that she vetoed this? Well, she said this, quote, current state law appears to provide a mechanism for parents through their local school district to exercise their rights and ensure that their children are not exposed to inappropriate material. Which, yes, it's true. Generally, it's left up to the school districts themselves. She said, therefore, I do not believe the state of New Hampshire needs to, nor should it, engage in the role of addressing questions of literary value and appropriateness, particularly where the system created by House Bill 324 calls for monetary penalties based on subjective standards. So that's the other thing. The monetary penalties. I've seen this get weaponized against the very people who have passed these bills in other states. So it kind of makes sense for her to reject this. And of course, I'll give you the polling on it later. But first, let's get to more of these other bills that she shot down. House Bill 148, which would have allowed stores, jails, and workplaces to ignore gender identity and categorize people based on their assigned gender at birth or sex at birth. Now, this is a mixed one, okay, because she, yes, currently did the right thing, but her statement about it is not so good. Here's what she said on her veto of the bill. I believe there are important and legitimate privacy and safety concerns raised by biological males using places such as female locker rooms and being placed in female correctional facilities. So, using that turf language. At the same time, she said, I see that House Bill 148 is overly broad and impractical to enforce, potentially creating an exclusionary environment for some of our citizens. Look, when you pass these kinds of bans, you're basically saying, okay, how do we enforce that now? Well, you got the PP police. That's really it. I mean, that's how you enforce these bans. Genital inspections. I'm pretty sure that Ayotte, while agreeing with the turf language, is still like, I don't know if I'm really comfortable with allowing for genital inspections. Because you know what? One of the criticisms, okay, other than, of course, the most important criticism is it's going to unfairly target transgender people, specifically transgender women. But you also have cis women that get caught up in this as well. And so I don't like focusing on that particular argument as to why it's wrong, because I think it's wrong to single out transgender people who just want to use the bathroom or the locker room. But it also does impact cis women who are not feminine enough. Okay, so yeah, I don't like that whole thing, but it is true to point it out. So I think it is fair because it affects. It's basically, look, trans misogyny is basically one step removed from regular misogyny. They go hand in hand, and so I don't know why she vetoed this, but it's good to see. But her statement does mean that it's likely she will approve some version of this bill, right? I mean, again, turf language. And so it's one of those things where it's like, maybe just make it more direct so we can still go after the trans people without, some of the other baggage that this bill could bring in. I don't know. But again, it's mixed, right? Good that it's been rejected, but it probably will be approved at some point. Okay. Now, let's get into the others. Ayotte also killed House Bill 358, which would have streamlined something called the religious exemption process for parents who don't want to vaccinate their kids. Okay. So, I mean, that makes sense considering how we have these diseases that are coming back because people are not vaccinating. So it's one of those public health things where it's like, oh crap, I really don't want that to happen here. Okay. So yeah, no, let's not let them streamline these religious exemption processes. Okay. House Bill 446 would have required schools to receive parental permission to conduct non-academic surveys. Okay. And House Bill 667 is an anti-abortion bill that would have forced students to view a high-quality computer-generated animation or ultrasound video showing the development of the heart, brain, and other vital organs in early fetal development. Most likely, those so-called high-quality, computer-generated animations are wrong, okay, are engineered to be strictly anti-abortion to show you misinformation because they can do that. Yeah. And so it's good that she vetoed that. Finally, she also killed House Bill 475 and House Bill 115. So those are both basically on the budget. And Ayotte had deemed them both unnecessary. So look, what I'm seeing from this is, yeah, these vetoes seem to be a rebuke of some of the most far-right, social, cultural, conservative crap that's being pushed by the far right. Okay. And so this is a rebuke of that. And what's the good news here is that lawmakers would need a 2/3 majority in both the state House and Senate to overturn the veto, and they don't have those numbers. So, yeah, it's looking like those bills at the moment killed. All right. That's not to say that they won't come back in some form later on. Maybe not quite as extreme, but still harmful, and that she might change her mind in the future. But for right now, I'll take good news where I can get it. And this is all right news. The more bills like these that get blocked, the better. And I don't know why, especially on the anti-abortion stuff, considering how Ayotte is not a moderate on this issue. Now, she may call herself that, but in reality, she did spend a lot of her career attacking the fundamental right for, women's bodily autonomy. While serving in the U.S. Senate, Ayotte voted for a national abortion ban. She also voted 4 times to defund Planned Parenthood. She voted for the Blunt Amendment and the Respect for Rights of Conscience Act, which, as Public News Service reported, would remove insurance coverage for birth control. So why then did she block that one? It's maybe because the polling is not on her side on this issue. Only 33% of New Hampshire voters believe the state should set policy about reading materials for all K-12 schools. A solid majority, about 56%, want to see those decisions made locally. And so her veto goes along with that, with the polling here. 41% of voters, including 43% of undecided voters, say that they would be less likely to vote for Governor Ayotte if she signed HB 324 into law. Only 30% say it would make them more likely to support her. Even among her 2024 voters, 1 in 12 say that they'd be less likely to back her again. And so understand that she is in a blue state. Okay. Others polls show that a majority of New Hampshire voters are against banning abortion. And so there's that. None of these bills, though, that she had also, that the far right in New Hampshire presented addressed any real issues, too. Like, for example, affordability. In fact, before the election, New Hampshire voters were most concerned in, this is the order of importance, okay, of these issues: Social Security, crime, abortion, the economy, and finally immigration. And there you go. Voters are not concerned about social conservative issues. They're not concerned about transgender women in locker rooms. They don't care. And again, New Hampshire, blue state, they voted for Kamala Harris in the general election. Yes, even at a lower level than they did for Joe Biden in 2020, but still, they're a blue state. They've been voting for Democratic presidents since 1992, with the one exception of George W. Bush in 2000. And yet they still have a Republican governor. And that right there, the fact that they are a blue state with a Republican governor, kind of shows you that Ayotte is not going to really be focused on all the weirdo social conservative stuff that you would see in a state like, for example, Alabama, Louisiana, Kentucky, etc. Yeah, no, not Kentucky. Sorry about that. But in like, for example, Alabama, okay, or Louisiana. She's not going to be focused on those. Now, she's still going to be focused on the normal Republican thing of making rich people richer, because that's what they all do. But the social conservative stuff, which is not exactly popular with the majority of the people, yeah, she's not going to be in favor of. Okay, and this is all just political stuff. So it's not too shocking to see these vetoes, but nonetheless, I'm going to tell you to take the good news where you can get it. But don't forget that if you actually want real progress on real issues like raising wages, labor rights, things like that, then just remember, vote for a progressive. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.